Hey everyone, welcome to Ellis Mowers. I appreciate y'all watching as always. I have a John Deere GT225 here in the garage. It is my neighbor's. It's got a few issues, mostly small, although one of them's going to be kind of expensive to fix. And nothing crazy. PTO, drive belt, couple other things. So let's see what we can get into. I've already got it kind of partially disassembled because I wanted to make sure that I could fix it before I film the video. But I'll backtrack with you as we get going on this machine. Alright, let me give you a walk around. I already got the deck off of it. The deck is about the easiest thing to take off of a lawnmower that I have ever seen in my life. It was amazing how easy this deck was to take off. There's just that point right there, a spring-loaded point, and then your front bracket, you can slide it forward and take it off the front bracket. Super easy. So we got it off. We're going to clean the deck, put some blades on it and all that good stuff. None of that is a big deal at all. So we're going to move on to the mower. Anybody who has a John Deere of this age, which I think is like early 2000s, probably does not have a hood on it. They are notorious apparently for like cracking, breaking, just being brittle over time, being exposed to the elements. GT225, here's your serial number and identification number and stuff like that for this lawnmower. This has got the hydrostatic transmission, obviously the big garden tractor wheels and tires on it. Seat in okay shape, just really needs a good cleaning. I have the battery out, it's been charging. It's got the 15 horsepower Kohler Command engine on it. Runs pretty good. It might have a small needle and seat leak, I'm not quite sure. But like I said, good overall. Runs and drives. What happened was, I think this thing was running and driving, and I think if anybody that's more experienced in like true John Deeres, I don't call the D100s and stuff John Deeres, they're just your box store mower, but dealer grade John Deeres. So if you look under here, the PTO, let's get under here together, stand by. So the PTO is missing on it, and what happened was I already extracted the bolt. The bolt was soft, and I was able to drill it out and hammering easy out into it, and it came out just fine. All points aside, PTO clutch was missing when I originally got this lawnmower to fix, so we're gonna have to figure that out, which would essentially be buy a new PTO clutch. As you can see, the pin, the locking pin is on it down here. We have an oil leak, as you can kind of see on the bottom as well. That's coming from the valve cover. Transmission drives very well, but we do need a drive belt. As you can see, it's kind of rubbing on the bottom because what's happened is this PTO clutch has come off or kind of recessed down, and I think it's rubbing up against this pulley right here and causing the bottom of the belt to shear, so we got to put a drive belt on it. What else do we have apart from the, let's see, I think that's it. To get it cutting again, we're going to put some blades on it. I'm going to see if I have some blades here, because that would help save the customer a little bit of money, because I acquire a bunch of different types of blades. We'll get this deck cleaned off like I mentioned. Got all this grass and junk. The deck belts themselves look like they're okay. In my opinion, not to the point where they need replaced, and it actually kind of looks like this one was replaced at some point. Not you know, probably in the past 3 or 4 years, because there's no cracking or whatnot on it. A little bit of rust from where it's kind of just sat, because this mower has sat a little bit. It has had some welding on the brackets back here. Pretty typical. My neighbors did not use this. They own a bunch of property, and I think they hired a guy, and this guy just pretty much beat this thing to death, as you can see. Still not bad though. So let's go ahead and let me show you the bolt that I extracted. The bolt just sheared off, and the PTO clutch sheared off as well. So I have to find where the PTO clutch wiring is, and what else? Where is that PTO clutch wiring at? I hope that the wiring is not sheared off, but that's not a big deal. Let's go on an adventure, why don't we? PTO clutch wiring. I didn't see the pigtail hanging down on the bottom down there, did y'all? Could be chilling up here somewhere. Let's see where we go with this PTO clutch. Down the wiring harness here. Over, do we go to the other side? We do kind of go to the other side over here. And is that a pigtail? There's my pigtail. So the plug for the PTO is right there. They had zip tied it up. So they've been using this as a regular garden tractor, not cutting grass, but just pulling it around the yard for I don't know how long. That explains the telltale sign of the drive belt situation. So only so much I can do right now is pretty much clean the deck off, and I got to order a bunch of parts. So when the parts get in here, PTO is about 100, blades 40. I have a bolt here that'll fit, so he's looking at $150 in parts. Battery is charged, put it up there. So we'll pick this up when I get the parts in, and we'll put them on. Alright guys, the drive belt finally came in for this thing. So what we're going to do, there's a pair of scissors under there. We're going to go ahead and put it on. What I was able to do, because the PTO was already off, is I actually took the front drive pulley off here. That got me to this point. So I'm just take it off there. Oh, it's a pretty thick belt. I think it's a, I don't know if it's not a ½ inch. I think it's a 5/8. We're not talking about your residential lawnmower here. We're talking about some good stuff. All right. So we will go ahead and take this belt off. Hopefully I can see okay. Just goes across a bunch of pulleys here. Just got to take everything off the pulleys. Should be relatively easy to do. There we go. Pulley number 3. Alright, so it looks like I'll have to disconnect the steering shaft right here to get it off. Because it runs through there and under it. So I've got to disconnect that. I hope maybe y'all can see that. On the back of the mower, I just got to get it over the hydro fan, which shouldn't be too difficult. Let's see. There we go. Just be careful because it's plastic fins. Getting it over that fan. Okay. Hydro fan back here. Spin the fan around if you need to. Let's see. So, ugh. I think I got it stuck under the fan, which is what's causing me a lot of grief. There we go. Spin it around one more time. That should get us free from the fan. Pretty darn close anyways. Oh. It really ain't a bad drive belt to get off, in all honesty. It's fairly easy. It looks like I've got to take the spring down as well, which doesn't have any tension on it when I have the park brake down. So the only thing holding us up now is I've got this guide right here that I've got to get under. But I've just got to take that. It looks like a what is that? Probably a 9/16 on the top, just a wrench and a ratchet, a couple of or some sort of wrenches, and that'll get us off. And this thing right here's been leaking oil for a while from somewhere. It looks like the valve cover gasket, so we're going to do that also. Let me grab the tools that I need, and we'll take this off, and that should do it. That should do it for us here. Alright, y'all. Hopefully I can show you here. You have to look at the top of the screen, the really top of the screen. So the knuckle is off. A weird wrench combo. It was a 5/8 on the bottom and an 18 mil on the top. So that was really strange combination, but I'm sure that was a whatever is equivalent to 5/8 probably did that too. So we're gonna try and just push this belt up through the guide here. I don't know if we'll be able to do that or not. Let's see. If we have to bend the guide down, I guess we can do that too to get it out. We'll obviously put this guide back up once we get to that point. There we go. The proper way is probably to take that pulley off, but whatever. Like I said, we'll just put that guide back up and we'll be fine. But here's, you see where that groove was starting to wear into this belt, so that's why I'm replacing it for him. Didn't want him to have any problems on down the line. So let me get the new belt. We'll go ahead and start this process here. We got to get it back through the guide there. Oh. And since this belt's new and thick, I have to work on it even more. So, I'll get some pliers and get that back up through the guide. Again, you have to route it around this too. Around that. So one side's going to go on this side and one side's going to go on the other side of the steering arm. You've got that spring that goes from here to there. And then obviously we got to get it up the hydro fan back there in the back. So I'm actually going to go ahead and work on all this since it's a little difficult to work under here. I just want to kind of show you the process of getting it off. I'll get it on, I'll show you the finished product. And then we'll go ahead and put the PTO clutch on before we start driving it around with this belt, because you don't want the same thing to happen to it with the PTO clutch missing and it riding down the pulley there. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll rejoin you after that. Alright guys, we're making progress. So here's what I did. Better to show you than actually, or it's better to tell you what I did than actually show you, just because of the confined quarters down here. But I took the spring and put it up against the arm there first, and then took the like a little piece of welding wire and some pliers and pulled it up over the I guess these are the deck height lever deals. Put that on. All you got to do with the PTO clutch is line up the key, as well as line it up with that little holder, the holding pin there, and that will get you what you need. I had a bolt from another Kohler rider that I put on here. I have turned it on and engaged it a couple of times, and it does work. I can hear the load change on the engine, so that's a good thing. So now what I'm going to do, I've got to bend that keeper back just a little bit, but what I need to do now is put the deck on, which again, super easy, just a 3-point deal. 1, 2, and 3 in the front with that bracket over there. Put the deck belt on and be good. So I plugged in the wire, and the wire is going above the deck, which is good. Trying to be out of the way of everything, which it is doing right now. I will address that if it's not going to. And once we get the deck and everything on here, I got to put the blades on as well. I forgot I have blades right there for it. I'll put the blades on, put the deck on. We'll give this a shot. Might even cut the front yard with it. I do need to give it an oil change. It also needs a valve cover gasket, both of which I'm going to be doing. Both of which I will be doing to it as well while it is here. It's got a Briggs & Stratton oil filter on it, but we'll put a Super Tech on it because that's my favorite oil filter apparently. And we'll jack it up, change the valve cover gasket, put some RTV on it, clean it up, make it all pretty. Give it a good wash and send it home. What do y'all say to that? Let me get the blades on it to the deck. I'll show you the blades here. We'll be pretty careful with this deck with the double stack pulley on it. Let's see. So like I said, the blades are pretty eat out on this. They are mulching blades, but they're pretty eaten out. I will have to just hang tight real quick for me. I'm gonna ease this down. So a lot of grass and stuff I'll clean out from under the deck. You can see these blades are pretty done. And I'll just swap them out. It's just a bolt and a bolt, which is perfect. And then we will put the new blades on, put the deck on. We'll test this thing out. Alright y'all, got it all back on. It's always fun when you put about $175 worth of parts on somebody else's lawnmower and hope that you did it all right. I think I did. Everything is spinning and turning like I think it is supposed to be, so we're going to roll with it. I think we got something good here. I got this freed back up, I believe. Yeah. So that's good. Let's see, we're going. So it's just a matter of getting this back up. And it's getting there. But let me stop procrastinating. Let me crank this thing up and get it out here and see if everything will start and run and operate and all that good stuff for us. Good thing blades haven't turned in a while, so I figured that it would take a little bit to get them going, especially with this little bitty 15 horsepower Kohler. Let's see if it'll go again. Oh yeah, now we're cooking. So smooth and quiet. Takes forever. Oh well, I'll figure that out here in a second. This thing got a mower reverse? Really? So this thing's got a reverse switch that won't allow it to cut in reverse. Let's see. Very interesting. I've never seen this before. But so you have to pull this to go to mow in reverse. It's like the old version of the RIO on the new mowers. How about that? I'd probably explain why the bolt's sheared off, because you gotta literally pull the thing in order for it to go in reverse. Cool. I'll leave it running there for a second. I'll move a couple things out of the way. I'm just going to put it over here and change the oil. Be glad to get this one going too. As you can see, I've got plenty to work on. So that's awesome though. Move that tripod, move this. I'll just blow this off real quick, but as you can see, everything's working like it's supposed to. I got to figure out the blade height adjustment thing, but once I do that, we'll be fine. So let me change the oil in it, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut some grass, make sure it's working properly, and then we'll might clean it up for them before I take it back down there. Call this one done. All right, y'all, here it is. Cut the front yard with it. You can see some of the grass residue that I have under here. Whoop, if the sun's not too bad. So, did just fine. I think I turned it really hard to the left on a hill, and it bound up this drag link, which is a little bit worn on the front axle, and actually popped the ball joint, or it didn't pop the ball joint off, but it came off of the ball joint. So we got that fixed, or popped it back on, cut the rest of the grass. It seems fine. So I think it just bounded up there for some reason. Mowing reverse works fine, blades work fine, drives good. So we are in good shape. I need to let it cool down now, and the only thing I've got left to do on this thing is put a valve cover gasket on it, which I'm just going to use RTV. Never done one for a Kohler Command, but it looks pretty straightforward. I'm going to take this breather hose off. 1 bolt, 2 bolt, 3 bolts, 4 bolts, 5 bolts. Should be able to pop that valve cover gasket right off and put RTV on it. Seal it right back up, let it sit overnight. Should be good the next day. And we'll send this one back next door. Like the mower, I mean, you can tell a difference between a lawn tractor and a garden tractor. Trust me, it's a nice ride, a much nicer ride than a lawn tractor with the bigger tires and everything. Not going to be Speedy Gonzalez cutting grass with this thing with the 42-inch deck. Obviously, the garden tractor is not quite as maneuverable as most run-of-the-mill lawn tractors, but hey, thing runs good, cuts good. Pretty satisfied with it. It'll be good for whenever we get whenever the neighbors get somebody hired to cut some of their properties and whatnot. Wasn't taken very good care of by the person who used it for them last, but hey, I mean, it's a little beat up. That thing still keeps on cruising. So kudos John Deere. Got a ton of John Deere stuff in the garage right now, more than I've ever had. So let me I'll put the valve cover gasket on it. I'll show you the process. We'll clean it up. May not even clean it up actually, but we'll at least get some of this oil off. So I might just hit it with the power washer real quick, and should be good after that. Alright, this Kohler is leaking pretty bad at the valve cover gasket, so we're going to take the 10 mils off. There's 5 of them. By the way, I do have the front of the mower jacked up. That way the oil is not trying to go past this. There's that little bracket that comes with there. Man, I tell you, I'll take a Kohler Command any day of the week. I don't really have any complaints at all about this engine that are really major. The worst I've seen with these are associated with the carburetors, actually, with the needle and seat. I've also seen a couple of sheared flywheel keys on them. Flywheel keys are a little bit more difficult to take off than a Briggs one, but hey, that's all right. Let's see what we got. Did I miss one? No. Just got to tap it off or pry it off, one of the two. Just let me see what I can do here. That works. That was exciting. I knew it was going to do that, but there it is. We'll wire brush this off, put a little bit of RTV on it. It doesn't look like there was a lot. It doesn't look like somebody put the gasket back on it. It's like somebody took the gasket off of it, because there's really hardly any gasket material on this side either. You see that? So it's like somebody didn't really even put a gasket back on it once they took it off. It's kind of discouraging for whoever worked on that. I hope a shop didn't do that. But that's pretty. Definitely would at least put some sort of gasket sealer on it, wouldn't you think? But yeah. So I'll again, I believe these are hydraulic valves, so you can't even adjust them. I'm just gonna put gasket sealer on. Once I get the gasket sealer on the valve cover itself, I'll rejoin you as I put these back on. All right, so I got the gasket back on. I just used that drill right there with the wire brush, and just got whatever remaining gasket material that there was off. There was not much. So I just got to put that breather hose back on, which I'll go ahead and do right now. Let me grab my pliers. You can see the red RTV from where I put the gasket on. I usually go a little bit liberal on it, so to speak, just to get it to where it's not going to leak, and I've had good success with that so far. Especially down there on the bottom. That would explain why it was leaking like crazy, and that's why it's got oil all over the place. So we'll let this sit overnight, probably for a good 12 hours or so. Let it get dried. I'll clean everything up, and then I'll show you all the clean version of the mower. It's going to turn out pretty well. We did a lot of work to this. Most of it's pretty easy. Thanks, John Deere, for making most of this pretty easy. That's what you get when you buy a garden tractor, I guess. You get to have a little bit easier time getting things fixed, so to speak. See you in the morning after I get it all cleaned. All right, y'all. So in a typical fashion, the mower left before I was able to film it. It's just next door, but needed it out of my garage so I can get to the next project. And I realized that I did not film the ending to it, but I did clean it up. No new problems arose, and it I guess it's working well. I don't think they've used it yet for the person that they're going to hire to use it. To cut yards or whatnot, but everything seemed to be pretty good. The big lesson I learned here is that it seems like most of the John Deere stuff was relatively easy to fix and work on, at least in this generation of tractor. Seemed like it was a lot easier, at least in terms of deck removal, than that 165 that was a little bit older, probably by about 15 years. I think this is a mid-2000s rider. But definitely helping my respect for John Deere. They're pretty decently built lawnmowers. Obviously one of the weak points is just the deck brackets, but once you weld those up like it was on this rider, you're usually pretty good. So thank you all as always for watching. Thank you for the support. Y'all can find me on Instagram and Facebook as well on this board right after the end of this video. And I will catch you on the next one. See you then.